Good morning, and welcome to this service of worship at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. My name is Preston McMillan. My wife, Betsy McMillan, and I have the great pleasure of serving as your worship leaders today. The Reverend Bethany is visiting family back east and will return to the pulpit next Sunday. Our community is as varied as the blossoms of the Sonoran Desert. Whoever you are, whoever you have been, and whoever you are becoming, I invite you to bring your whole self here now. I extend a special welcome to visitors, invite you to fill out guest information card, which will be posted on the YouTube chat right about now. Beginning this month, the UUCT will stream live most services from this sanctuary. The Baja 4 collaborative worship services will shift to once every few months. The Baja 4 will continue to collaborate and focus on creating innovative worship services on months with the fifth Sundays and occasional other Sundays. The first of those innovative Baja 4 worship services will be on Sunday, January the 30th, to dedicate Mount Vista's new building. Right after today's service, we will meet on Zoom for our social hour. Janice Hayho, our chat manager today, will post the Zoom link in the chat closer to the end of this service. It is also on the UUCT webpage. Our monthly 2-hour will follow our social hour today. The Zoom for the link will also be posted in the chat. There are, about eight of us here in this sanctuary today. Joining us this morning to give reflections are Jody Bernadette, Bert Meek, Cassandra Klein, and joining us by pre-recorded video is Natasha Warner. Our tech team today is Cynthia Johnson, Larry Newhouse, Liz Ravenwood, Cassandra Klein, and new to the team is Alicia Clark. At the present time, the Pima County remains, in Pima County, it remains at the very high level for COVID. So you have to stay tuned for more information about the new COVID policy that the board has been working on, which will enable us to begin together again in person in the sanctuary. So again, welcome. We are so welcome and glad that you are here.
Today's call to worship is from Starhawk. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us and eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends. Someplace where we can be free. Come, let us worship together.
Now, if you have a chalice or a candle at home, I invite you to light it as Betsy lights our chalice here in Holland. And please join me in these words for chalice lighting, written by two young children and their parent in honor of their mother's ordination. We are all flames when we gather hand in hand, our church, our community, our home. We inspire, we celebrate, we come together, sharing our light of hope for our shared future.
Come go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where I'm bound, there'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land, oh Lord. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land, oh Lord. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
Masks are sort of tricky to get off sometimes. I really love that hymn, and I want to thank the Desert Chorale for it today. I'm giving our first reflection. You may be wondering why today's service is titled, "We Are the Church." Good question. It's because we all need to get thinking about what our church will need from us as we transition to our eagerly awaited for in-person church services. We will have expanded opportunities to serve each other as well as the larger community beyond our church walls. To get to that point, I first want to recognize some of the amazing work that we have accomplished over our 2 years of physical distancing during the pandemic. I was astonished to learn that as many as 45% of our active members and friends have given volunteer service to the church over the past 2 years. There have been too many accomplishments to list them all, but I want to share a few with you. A Parents of Preschoolers group was created. A volunteer worship editor gave service to the Baja 4 for 10 to 15 hours a week. Our finance team updated their skills by creating a consolidated income statement to help them understand the general state of our finances on one sheet of paper. Our facilities team has done a ton of work to start up a $250,000 capital project campaign. Our tech team skilled up and launched live streaming technology to broadcast our Sunday services on YouTube. Care team volunteers reached at least 100 of our members to check on their well-being and gave another 50 members individual aid like meals, visits, grocery deliveries, and running errands. And church members donated money so that church volunteers could pick up and deliver lunches several times to St. Joe's and TMC hospital nursing staff caring for COVID patients. We have been creative. We've been flexible. We've been resilient. We've been productive. And we've been very loving. In looking to the future, each of us in our church community is needed. In a typical in-person church year, 75%, which is about 150 of our active members and friends, give volunteer service. And on the screen is a sampling of service opportunities that members and friends of UUCT provide now or that will be needed when in-person church starts. Some right out of the gate, like greeters and ushers. There are also activities not listed here that may never have existed in church that you have an interest in offering to church life. When you want to volunteer in some way, whether you're a member or a friend, log into the website at uuctucson.org. It's on the screen. Click on the Volunteer Interest Form button on the right-hand side of the web page. Complete the very short form about your interests, press Submit, and you will be contacted by the person who heads up that interest area. We are all needed as we minister to each other either today and prepare with anticipation for our church life as we come out of this pandemic. Today, we will hear reflections from church members about who want to share how and why they give service here at our church. They represent a few of the many, many ways service is given. I hope that something you hear today may spark your interest, ignite your enthusiasm, and engage your thinking about how you want to help our church move forward. In closing, I want to share with you an excerpt from a meditation by Jane Rainey Zepka titled, "We Are the People Who Choose," from a real good little book called Bless the Imperfect. And she writes, "It's your church, And maybe you like rocking babies in the nursery, or you like designing shelves, or you just like to try. You're a natural-born leader, or you'd like to test your wings at chairing a committee. You're a bit of a ham, or terrified of public speaking. Either way, it's your church. Whether you're chatty or mute, analytical or artistic, you with your personal finances bar graphed on your computer, you who feel at home in the kitchen, you who have a wealth of intuition, you whose watch beeps on the hour, you who wonder what day it is, you are welcome here because, after all, this is your church, and you know this is good stuff. And whether you want to teach the children a sense of their inherent worth or a love for the adventures of life, you're here together. You've arrived.
Our earth is strong. It can hold our pains and our joy, our love and our anger. Our shared bowl, which we use for joys and concerns each week, is strong enough to hold the big rocks, our collective celebrations and mournings, and also the smaller rocks and stones that will be added to signify our individual joys and concerns. We who live in the desert know that water is a life-sustaining and scarce resource. Let us remember those in the desert and those desert people who came first to this place. We honor the Hohokam, the Yavapai, Tohono O'odham, and the Yaqui, and the people who no longer exist as tribal entities here in Arizona. Let us remember those who are walking through our deserts right now without access to water. We pour water from a plastic jug, similar to the ones used by those seeking to assure greater access to water in the desert, like our ministry partner, No More Deaths. If you have a joy or a concern to share, I invite you to type it into the chat or speak it out loud, wherever you are. As you do that, Betsy will place small pebbles into our shared bowl to symbolize our joys and concern within our community. The pebbles create ripples of hope, even as we are far apart.
Thank you, Chris, for the beautiful music. I invite you to take a deep centering breath and join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer or contemplation as I read a prayer from Laila Ibrahim. Dear Spirit of connection and creation, bless this community gathered in hope and love for our world, for one another, and for ourselves. We gather here longing to create a more connected and more just world. Help us to speak our truth with respect. Help us to listen with love. Help us to be patient. Help us to be forgiving. Help us to know that here, as in all human endeavors, mistakes are inevitable and perfection is impossible. And, oh yes, remind us not to take ourselves too seriously. Amen.
Hi, I'm going to talk today about some of the parts of the church I've been involved in that I'm really looking forward to being able to get back to when it's safe to do so. The two parts I'm going to talk about are RE, Religious Education, the Sunday morning classes, and OWL, Our Whole Lives, the church's comprehensive sexuality education program. I've taught in both these programs for a long time, and I've really enjoyed doing it, and I miss them. What I enjoy most about teaching in these programs is getting to hear what kids and youth think about topics that really matter in life. Especially in OWL, the sexuality education program, the kids know that these topics matter. When we're talking about relationships and ethics and respect in relationships, they know immediately that this really matters.
Whoa, this is really different. I don't usually stand up here like this, but I gotta say, I wish I could see you. I look out and I see a couple bodies here, but I know that you're over there, and just know that you're missed. But I guess I want to talk about leadership today, but I don't want to talk about my experience as a leader. I want to talk about yours. So I decided to make a list of all the qualities you need to serve. So let's see. Need to identify as, no, that's not right. You need to work full-time, part-time, no. You need to lifelong UU, no. You need to like dogs, no. You need to enjoy hiking, no, that's a different list. Need to spend time with kids, no. The only quality that you need to serve is a desire to serve. That's all. You can be different. You can be really different from the last 25 people who did this job. This church is old. Think about that. There's been at least 25, 30 people that have done the job that you're going to do. So don't try and do it like they did. Be you. Just bring your authentic self. That's all you need. Because it doesn't matter how it was done before. Because that was before. And this is now. So I know you're probably thinking to yourself, I can never do it like X did. Okay, then I'm going to tell you a secret. Don't. Don't do it like they did. Do it like you want to do. Do it with the passion and the joy and the love that you bring, that is just intimately and only yours. And also believe me, we're UUs, so if you're worried, you're going to get plenty of advice. There's going to be people all over that are going to tell you how to do your job, I promise. You don't necessarily have to listen, but when you do, some of that will matter. Some of that will help you. But at the end of the day, how you do the job is up to you. And I know that you're going to be really good at it. So that's one of the reasons I serve. So I guess just in conclusion, I just dare to care. Dare to be you. Dare to come with your authentic self. Dare to believe in you and the gifts that you bring. And that's really the only thing you need. And I'll give you two final words. First, don't tell, okay, since nobody's here. But it's also really fun. It really is. It's been a joy and a pleasure to serve this church for the past 5 years. And also, if you serve on the board, you get a stylish lanyard. What more reason do you need than that? Thank you.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and hope for all and for now. We are the keepers of the dream. The life of our congregation has continued throughout this pandemic. Even though we are not meeting in person, our congregation depends on your financial support. Your monetary gifts are signs of gratitude for this community. To support our congregation, you may send a check to the office, give online at UUCTucson.org/donate, or text 833-361-5796.
thank you, Chris. I always enjoy your playing. Even when you can't be over here playing live, I still appreciate what you do for our church. Thank you. My name is Bert Meek. I have been one of your worship associates since back to February 2018, and I've been chair of that committee since July 2020. For those of you who can remember before the pandemic, a worship associate was involved with almost every single service here, working together with our minister. Our parts would vary week to week, but most often we would typically read the welcome, the chalice lighting, the chalice extinguishing, the offertory, just as you saw this morning, and perhaps additional readings. In the beginning of 2020, COVID changed so many aspects of our life, including how we do these services. We abruptly stopped in-person services for everybody's safety. And as you all know, we began to work collaboratively with the 3 other Southern Arizona UU congregations to offer pre-recorded services every single week. During that time, the role of the worship associates was much reduced because, we had 4 ministers, we had Riley, who was our intern at the time, and of course, dear old Jamili. And between all of them, they provided every single component that the services needed. Well, this past September 12th, that service marked an important shift away from these pre-recorded services. That's when we began a hybrid approach, just like what's happening today. For a hybrid service, some components can be pre-recorded, and much of the service is done live, with a few people present here in Holland, but streamed online so everyone can watch. Now, with the shift away from Baja 4 pre-recorded to these live stream services, the role of the worship associate now has once again increased to pretty much what we did before the pandemic. Another exciting aspect of this hybrid service is it allows us to gradually increase the number of people who are here present for the live service. That's when Reverend Bethany and the board determine it is safe to proceed. The majority of the respondents to the survey that the worship associates put out clearly are ready to be here and in person. We just have to find out and determine what's a safe way to make that happen incrementally. The other plus, important advantage of streaming live, it lets people watch us from anywhere at any time because the services are recorded. We could never be that accessible back in the pre-pandemic times. Now, as we return to in-person attendance, in addition to needing more worship associates, we will once again need ushers and greeters. Probably not to be passing around the collection bowl. Who knows when we'll be able to do that safely, but the concern is making sure people don't congregate too closely before they come in, and when they're seated to make sure they're socially distant in family groups. They'll be very important at that time. I'll say a little bit more about our committee. We typically meet once a month. And now that we have moved away from the Baja 4 collaboration, the worship associates commonly have responsibility for 15 services on Sunday each year for the times that Reverend Bethany is not here in the pulpit. These services can be lay-led, like this morning's, or we can hire a professionally trained minister to provide the service and then work with them. Let me end on a more personal note. Having a role in how these worship services are pulled together gives me such a deeper appreciation for the complexity and all the time and effort that goes into preparing them. I get a sense of satisfaction from those times that I actually contribute to a particular service. It also means a lot to me to be part of something greater, and taking on a more active role in our church helps me feel more connected to the whole congregation. This pandemic has left me feeling more isolated, am more disconnected. And my involvement in the Worship Associates has at least helped provide a partial antidote to that isolation. Thank you. Next is Brian.
I hope that you hope what I hope. We need to find a new path and leave the brokenness behind. To search till we find what we need. Supporting one another and caring for each other as we look for beloved community. I see that you see what I see. There's more than one perspective. Listening brings it into view. We'll learn from the harm of our past. Gain strength from understanding. Look forward to our future. Learn to enter beloved community. I know that you know what I know. A place is out there somewhere where the love inside us grows. I'll work on myself so that we can strengthen one another, reflect and then discover as we build a beloved community. I love when you love as I love. Acceptance isn't easy, but it's how to make love show. We'll learn as we walk on this road to let ourselves be open and love each as a neighbor, to be one in beloved community.
So, a few weeks ago, I took off a mask after wearing it for a little while, and my mask had rubbed bright red lipstick all up onto my nose. So I hope that's not what's happening today. If it is, you'll remember it as the time that Rudolph spoke in church, I guess. I've been asked to talk a little bit about what we do as part of the tech team, or the live streaming team, or the audio video group, or whatever you want to call us, or the IT people, the IT people. So here's a funny thing. Imagine with me, if you will, a time when we had so many people attending church here in person that we could not all fit in this room. And they asked us to start overflowing the services to our rec hall next door into Goddard. So we did that. You know, we were already started doing this live streaming. It was only going 100 feet instead of however far away you are. But we got sort of a leg up on this whole thing back before the pandemic hit. And it's just crazy to imagine us all there now, sitting in tight groups, talking together, eating food off of community tables, you know, things that we used to think were normal and now they're not. Anyway, so it's been a fun journey for us to be able to expand what we were doing over there, or actually just change that and then add to it so that we could stream it online. If you ever find yourself being bored in church, Bert's making a little look of shock. If you ever find yourself being bored in church, come back and watch us in the little tech booth back there. We are not bored. We are scared to death and running in a mad panic to make everything work. And if you ever find yourself as one of those people who gets really frustrated when, now why did they switch that camera before switching the slide? And so we saw the wrong slide for a minute, and then that, if that's one of those people, if that really frustrates you, come join us. And then someone else can be thinking that way about you. Somebody said earlier about, that was Jody that said, right, whatever job you have, somebody will tell you how to do it. So come join with us. We would love to have some more people back here. It is a fun challenge, and it really adds life and liveliness to the service, sometimes more than we should. But it's a lot of fun. You love those that you serve, and you serve those that you love. It's a cyclical thing. And this little project that I've sort of undertaken, along with the other people in the group, but for me personally, it's been just so fulfilling to me to be not somebody that's just a taker, that just shows up and expects to be fed every week, but somebody that shows up ready to help and feed others in whatever role that might be. Now, as part of our upgrade project, we found out that we had a need for a little more space, a little more place to put computers and extra monitors, because we have 2 different cameras and the laptop, and we're switching between all these sources and trying not to sit on top of each other while we're doing it. So we started shopping around for a cabinet. We wanted to get a nice cabinet. And you can put up the pictures now if you want, as much as I hate to have the camera go away from me, but oh well. We couldn't find a cabinet for $2,000. We still couldn't get the thing we wanted. We wanted a cabinet 7.5 feet long with a locking top, for security reasons. And finally, I just said, well, gosh darn it, I'll just build the thing. And I've messed around with building a lot of different things, but I didn't really know how to do this. But a friend of mine is a welder, and I asked him if he wanted the project. I said, if I design this, will you build it for us? And he said, you know what, I'm really way too busy for that, but I'll show you how to do it if you want to. So I said, okay, sure, why not? So anyway, I took a couple pictures of this cabinet that I made. It's 7.5 feet long, which means when I tipped it out of the truck, when I dropped it off here the other day, I stood next to it, and it was even taller than me, if you can imagine that. Anyway, this is just a little something that I did to help give back, and so that the church could have what we needed to be able to continue on and do our jobs effectively and productively, and have it not strewn all over the place like it is right now. If you could see back there, it's a big mess, and we're working on redoing that and putting the pieces together. But anyway, thank you for your time, and please let us know if you'd like to come join with us. We would love to have you. Drop my mask.
Thanks, Cassandra. When we were working on this service for today, I saw on the slides these 3 pictures, and I had no idea why they were there. And I said, what in the world are those there for? I wondered if maybe somebody had accidentally invited somebody to, post something that maybe they were selling. I didn't know. So thank you, Cassandra, for explaining that. And also for all the work in putting that together. In closing, I want to thank everybody that participated and made possible this service today. Those that did reflections, Cassandra and Jody and Bert and Natasha remotely. We had a little snafu and a little glitch, and her words were cut off a little early, but so sorry, Natasha, but I know that she is so excited about her teaching role and about teaching here and in the church that she would be more than happy to share the rest of her comments with you when we're back all together. Just go up and ask her about what turns her on about teaching. I also want to thank everybody behind the scenes, like the tech team, our custodian, and our chat manager. It takes so many people to make a service work. And we hope that today's call to service has given us all some ideas and some energy to act. We're all on this journey together, and when all is said and done, I hope that we can join together in a chorus of, wow, what a ride.
Please join me in the reading of the words of Maureen Killeran for extinguishing our chalice. As we listen to the blessings of music, may we know this ending as more than a time of goodbye. May the warmth of this community and the memory of our chalice flame sustain our hearts and encourage our minds as we engage in the blessings of life challenges and joys. The service has ended. Your service has begun. Go in peace, go in joy, and go in love.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We can feed our every need. Every need. We can feed our every need. Every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, our world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are. We are building a new way. We are